In online video games, players can get banned for a variety of reasons. Cheating, going AFK, and maybe even for saying a couple bad words.
It was at this time that I called this malfight a
But the average player can just make a new account and start their journey all over again. Professional players can't quite do that. And over the years, pro gamers have ran into creative ways to be suspended or completely banned from professional gaming. Today, we take a look at some of those instances. But before we get into that, today's video is sponsored by Professor. Professor is a useful companion app for League of Legends that will help you improve in your future games. I've said it before, but Professor gives you everything you need, including things you didn't know you needed. The app provides you with automatically importing the best runes, jungle timers on the map, patch notes specific to the champions you actually play, information about your teammates and opponents, and a lot more. Like their dodge detected feature. You're about to get into a game, then in the last second, someone dodges. You now get put into a new lobby with the same teammates. This usually means that the same opponents are on the other side. So this feature reminds you of who they chose, and you can have the opportunity of banning some of their desired champions. Overall, Professor can greatly improve how you play the game. Download Professor for free with the first link in the description. Now with that being said, let's jump into the video. Beginning with one of the more extreme punishments, an official permanent ban from professional League of Legends for making a joke. You tell me if you think they deserved it. This happened in April of 2021 to the player named Zeros from Vietnam, one of the most popular players in the region. The situation goes like this. One day on his live stream, he said, quote, "I hope that the pandemic situation gets worse so no Vietnamese team can go to MSI this year." The context here is that his team was just recently eliminated from qualifying to MSI. So this was really just a salty comment towards the teams that surpassed his team. However, the organization that operates professional League of Legends in Vietnam did not take his comment as a joke. Simply due to his comments, the player was quickly permanently banned from participating in future professional games. The only additional background you should know is that the player had received behavior punishments and warnings in the past, so it seemed this could have been a last straw situation. However, I think many would agree that the punishment was a tad bit excessive. Also, I should mention that for a variety of reasons, in the end, no Vietnamese team actually ended up going to MSI that year. They may have punished him, but his wish came true. Moving along with number 4, this was a strange story that took place in Worlds of 2021. This is Maun, a player that would go on to be suspended mid-tournament due to leaking team strategies to third parties who would use the information for gambling.
Prohibiting association with gambling, Maun is now suspended for the remainder of the 2021 World Championship and may be subject to additional penalties following a full investigation.
Specifically, he was caught texting someone what champions his team would pick before their matches. But it's even worse than it sounds, because allegedly he was getting catfished by someone pretending to be an attractive female. As in the text conversations that were leaked, the person Maun is speaking with sends a interesting picture. However, this woman is a popular Instagram model with over 1 million followers.
Okay, guys, I'll show you her Instagram. So this is the person that he was texting, Maun, when he got banned. Okay, yeah? Yeah? We've seen it now? Yeah, we've seen it.
And when this story started going viral, she posted on her story saying that she did not know who Maun was and that that picture already existed on her other social medias. Regardless of how you look at it, this guy was making mistakes left and right and ultimately ruined his esports opportunities. Maun has not been active in esports since this happened. Number 3, banned for just not being a nice guy. As I mentioned earlier, players online can have their accounts banned for being toxic in the game chat. And these rules actually apply to pro players as well. In 2013, Riot made an example out of the popular player I Will Dominate by banning him for an entire year from professional League of Legends due to his toxicity in solo queue games. Allegedly, Riot said that his accounts were in the top 1% of most toxic accounts. But we've actually spoken about this story before. Instead, despite giving this warning, 2 more players received the same punishment in the following month. The players were Envision and Linek. However, Envision was in a league of his own. Riot stated that one of Envision's accounts was reported 436 times in a span of 135 games. Meaning he was getting reported by at least 3 players per game on average. So he might have deserved it. Now, following that story with number 2, this is a similar situation but just taken to the next level. This happened to a player named SoFM who was heavily punished for going AFK in a solo queue game. The moment was actually captured during another player's livestream. SoFM is the jungle Graves in this game. He goes for a gank, the gank goes bad, and he rage quits by selling all of his items only 9 minutes into the game. Additional fun fact, SoFM and his team Sunning were just playing in the World Finals a little over a week ago from this taking place. But anyway, due to representing his team in a poor light and probably breaking some agreements that he signed on, the player was fined an entire month's salary. Now, what makes this punishment worse is that this guy is one of the highest paid players in professional esports, making his fine allegedly somewhere between $200,000 to $250,000. If those numbers are true, this is probably the most expensive mistake ever made in a solo queue game. And finally, to close off the video, players banned for match fixing. I've actually wanted to make a video about this, but it's not ultimately the most interesting topic, as it's pretty straightforward. Basically, every year, a handful of professional players ruin their esports careers by getting caught trying to organize illegal bets on whether their team will win or lose. For example, you can bet that your team will lose, and in the next game, you play as poorly as possible. This happens in every esport as well, and oftentimes not for as much money as you'd think. There was a story many years back of a Dota team named Roxkiss who played very poorly during an important game. Later there was an investigation that proved that players on the team came together to place a $100 bet on their team to lose. They obviously ended up throwing their game and cashed their prize of $322. Now, in this specific situation, this wasn't a big team or anything, so this money could have been significant to them. However, it was high risk, and once it was confirmed that they intentionally threw for the bet, all players involved were banned from the respective tournament. And this story happened in 2013, but it genuinely happens all of the time. Just 2 years ago, there was a story where 38 people were banned between the Chinese LPL and the LDL, their secondary league. Each and every one of these 38 people, who happened to be players and coaches, were all involved in a degree of match fixing to earn extra money. Something interesting about the bans given to the players in this situation was that one of the worst bans was a 2-year suspension given to Wei Yan. However, during this time, they also officially banned him from live streaming the game, which is a rare inclusion and reminds me of when Tyler 1 was prohibited from owning a League of Legends account. Gambling with League of Legends matches even stretches into solo queue. It wasn't long ago when it was discovered that players were placing bets on Faker's ranked matches. These gamblers would later try to contact Faker's teammates and pay them money to throw in the game. After accepting the deal, the gambler can make a larger bet on Faker to lose, knowing that it's now almost guaranteed. The same thing happens with general challenger matches as well. There are shady Chinese gambling websites that allow players to bet on whether or not random challenger players will win or lose. The player Saskio on Twitter shared exactly how this goes down. The gamblers send messages like this: "Do you cooperate with the anchor? I'll give you $100 if you lose. I believe you can pay first." This is obviously a rough Google translated message, but you get the point. They likely even mean that they will pay first if you accept. And I'm sure this actually works, because to many people, a quick $100 might be worth the risk. But alright, conclusion, don't be toxic, and gambling is bad. Thanks for watching, I'll see you again next week.